All right, let's talk about this Rachael Gunn situation. For those of you who have been living on Mars and haven't heard about this, Rachael Gunn is a 36-year-old female breakdancer from Australia. Her breakdance stage name is B-Girl Rachael Gunn. And she arguably turned in what was the worst performance by any competitor in any sport in the history of the Olympic Games.
Look, I mean, I think my understanding of musicality going into breaking was very strong. My body awareness, my coordination, my eye for technique has been much stronger going into the dance.
There is a human being that is just absolutely taking over the internet today. We've been blessed. Our timelines have been blessed. B-Girl Rachael Gunn, she's from Australia. She's a 36-year-old breakdancer.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think today might have been the first time that she breakdanced.
No.
First time winners?
Stop. Stop.
No.
That's sick.
No,
The roll to the folding chair?
Dude!
The can opener?
Oh my God!
Get the fuck out of here. What song is this? Gangnam Style?
And it's taken me quite a while to come out with a video reaction to this performance because, frankly, I didn't know how to handle it. Do we praise her effort? Do we admire her courage? Do we give her a participation trophy? And what most people want to know is,
how on earth did she even qualify?
Hard to put into words what exactly we witnessed today because we have not seen this before.
how did this happen? And what exactly did happen? Was this some kind of a joke or a prank? And it was obvious from the moment that she began her first breakdance battle with that kangaroo hop that she had no business whatsoever being on that Olympic breakdancing stage. And this is really a shame because this was breakdancing's debut as an Olympic sport. The world of breakdancing really wanted to make a splash, really wanted to wow the world, really wanted to make a great impression. Because this is much of the world's first introduction to competitive breakdancing. Here's what world-class breakdancing is supposed to look like. And the world of breakdancing was very excited when it was announced that breaking would be included as an Olympic sport in Paris in 2024. And I was very excited to see it because at the age of 66, I am the world's oldest actively competing breakdancer. And here I was last year in a local street battle here in Chicago. I started breakdancing late in life at the age of 54. Just happened to go to a breakdancing competition with world-class breakdancers. I was very impressed with it, and so I wanted to give it a try. I met one of the breakdancers there, asked him if he'd be willing to be my fitness teacher and teach me some breakdancing. He said sure, and that's how I started. And I became very passionate about breakdancing. I started practicing every day. I continue to practice every day. And I got very involved in the breakdancing community. That's why I was so interested in this Olympic competition. So here's the situation with Rachael Gunn, or B-Girl Rachael Gunn. There were a total of 16 slots for males in the Olympics, for male breakdancers, and 16 slots for female breakdancers. And the question everybody is asking is, how did Rachael Gunn qualify? This essentially beginner breaker. How did she qualify given that there were only 16 slots for females and 16 slots for males? And she did 3 rounds of breaking on that Olympic stage, and she got 0 points. That's how bad she was. Rachael Gunn's performance was a much worse performance than that famously bad Jamaican bobsled team from the 1988 Olympics that became the subject of one of the funniest movies ever made, Cool Runnings, starring John Candy as the coach of the Jamaican bobsledders. And you can see here the look of sheer horror on this person's face as he watches Rachael Gunn perform. This guy is probably a competitive breakdancer. And like everyone in the world of breaking, we were all hoping and expecting breakdancing to make a big splash in the Olympics, to cause the world to go, wow, we want to see more of this. And here's a reaction to Rachael Gunn's performance from one of the good breakers.
So no, seriously, this needs to be talked about, and I'm going to say this for the breakers who can't really say anything. This girl single-handedly ruined a dream that we've had for decades by herself. And what you need to understand about the breaking community, what she did on that floor was absolutely disrespectful. To the whole community. They already weren't taking breaking serious, and you want to know what the worst part is? The worst part is that there's no coverage on all the smiles and the moments that all the B-girls and B-boys had. Nothing. I know Vic personally. I've never seen him end the set Super Saiyan supercharged like that before. I can only imagine the adrenaline going through everybody's bodies. And not just those on stage, even all of the dancers we know and love in the background, losing their minds for any move these breakers landed. Anything. Oh my God. So I've never seen breakers smile so much in such camaraderie, because the whole style of dance is based on I'm better than you. Let me see what you got. Nah, that shit was whack. Overshadowed by this. So if you break this, honestly should have pissed you off.
And this is pretty much the prevailing view in the world of breaking. We wanted the world to be blown away by the athleticism of world-class breaking. Breaking sort of looks to the layman like gymnastics, but it's to the music. You have to be with the music or it doesn't count. Plus, all the breaking routines, all the breakdancing sets look different. And that's part of what makes breaking very different from gymnastics. In gymnastics, everybody's pretty much doing the same thing. They're doing pretty much similar routines. Not true at all in breaking. In fact, in breaking, originality is really important. And some specialize in the power and the athleticism, and some are more specialists in the dance. The best breakers, the ones who win, are the ones who can do everything. They are the well-rounded ones. They can do everything. And people who are involved in the breakdancing world, who are serious breakers, they are absolutely passionate about it. They spend 8-10 hours a day working on their craft. So instead of focusing on these truly tremendous athletes, these world-class breakers, all the media could focus on was this epically bad performance by Rachael Gunn. Completely missed, completely overshadowed, completely ignored, with the spectacular performances by these world-class breakdancers. So naturally, the question that everybody is asking is, how did Rachael Gunn make it into the Olympics? How did she qualify? What was the qualification process? How did she slip through the cracks? And many are accusing her, Rachael Gunn, of corruption. And here's the tenor of that criticism.
Ray Gunn mystery deepens. Looks like there's some corruption going on in breakdancing Australia. Who would have known? So there's this change.org petition going around to hold Rachael Gunn and Anna Mears accountable for what went on with the breakdancing. Okay, so there was no governing body for breakdancing in Australia, obviously, because it's such a niche sport. So Rachael Gunn decided to create her own governing body so that she could get the wheels in motion to get breakdancing into the Olympics. Only it seems like she didn't do it very ethically, because she appointed herself as the head of this governing body. Her husband seemed to be the judge and also the coach for the qualifiers. And the worst part of this whole thing is it looks like she has blocked genuinely good kids who are breakdancers at being able to go to Sydney for the qualifiers. This is very Machiavellian of her. It looks like she has created this ecosystem where only her and a few of her friends and her husband could exist in, so that they were pretty much guaranteed a spot in the Olympics, and actual good breakdancers from underprivileged communities like the Northern Territory didn't even get a look in for the qualifiers. If true, this is terrible. This is total corruption. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, because there's no other reason why she should have gotten through to the Olympic Games compared to these other kids who are genuinely good at breakdancing. When you look at their videos, they're actually really good. And we all know that she's not. So how did she get in and they didn't?
And there's an online petition circulating demanding an investigation of Rachael Gunn and of how she qualified for the Olympics. And here's what the petition says. The headline on the petition states, demanding that Rachael Gunn and Anna Mears be held accountable for unethical conduct, for rigging the selection process so that she, Rachael Gunn, would be selected to represent Australia in the Olympics, even though there were many more skilled female breakers from Australia. And here's what the petition claims. Quote, Rachael Gunn, who set up her own governing body for breakdancing, has manipulated the selection process to her own advantage. Despite the clear talent and qualifications of other outstanding female breakdancers like G-Clef and Holy Molly, they were unfairly overlooked. Disturbingly, Dr. Gunn went on to win her own qualifier. defeating other phenomenal breakdancers, raising serious questions about the fairness and integrity of the process. We call for a full investigation of the selection process. So that's the claim, and that's what we're going to dig into here. How is it that Rachael Gunn, pretty much a beginner breakdancer, ended up representing Australia in the Olympics? Is she really the best female breaker in Australia? Or did she rig the selection process to ensure her selection? And that's what we're going to examine here. The situation is this. Australia is not exactly known for its hip-hop culture, nor is it a mecca for breakdancing. And the Olympics wants all regions of the world represented in the competitions. That's how you end up getting the bobsled team from Jamaica. In the 2000 Olympics, there was a swimmer from Equatorial Guinea who swam the 100-meter race in 1 minute and 52 seconds, more than 1 minute behind the slowest other swimmers. This man named Eric Musambani literally learned how to swim 8 months before he was in the Olympics, and he almost could not swim the entire 100 meters. So this is what happens because the International Olympic Committee wants geographical diversity. So for the breaking, there had to be at least one competitor in both the female and male competitions from the Oceania region, which includes Australia, New Zealand, and a bunch of islands like Micronesia. Now, Australia is big in terms of land mass, but it has a small population, only 26 million people for the whole continent. So it's much smaller than Texas in terms of population. And there are some breakdancers from Australia, but not many. Add to this that breakdancing is overwhelmingly male. There are hardly any female breakdancers. So when I go to a breakdance battle in Chicago or Miami, that's where I usually go because we have houses in both locations, hardly any females show up to these events. If we have 40 guys, say, at a Chicago breakdance battle, there might be 2 girls, 2 females that show up. And I would say that in Chicago alone, there might be 100 guys that are training and actively competing in breakdance battles regularly. And at any one breakdance battle, you'll typically have 30 or 40 people, but at most 2 girls. And worldwide, there are probably 20 females that could be considered world-class breakers at the world-class level. But there are probably 200,000 guys worldwide who are competitive breakers. And there are probably 100 males that could be considered truly world-class. There are a lot of male breakdancers out there. This is just not an activity that attracts girls for the most part. Girls are attracted to ballet, to figure skating, to gymnastics, not to breakdancing, at least so far. Maybe that will change. Young boys tend to go into breakdancing because they think this will impress the girls if they can do head spins and windmills and air flares. It actually doesn't impress the girls at all. The girls could care less if you could do any of that. But that's what the boys think. So the boys go into breakdancing because they think it'll impress the girls. But hardly any girls go into breakdancing. So in the Olympics, there were 16 male competitors and 16 female competitors. And the level of competition among the males was fantastic. Even the male who represented Australia in the breakdancing competition was very good. His name is J-Attack. He's not on the top level of a truly world-class breaker, but he's very good. No one would say he embarrassed Australia with his performance. But if you look at the female breakers at the Olympics, I would say 6 out of the females, out of the 16 who were there, could be considered top-level breakers at all. There's just an enormous gap between male and female breaking. The female breakers just don't have the upper body strength, the quickness, or the explosive power that the males have. And so female breaking and male breaking really isn't even the same activity. And then add to that Australia has very few female breakers at all. So if the Olympic rule is that there has to be representation in the female breaking competition from Australia or from the Oceania region of the world, well, that's how this happens. But the accusation is that there are much better female breakers in Australia than Rachael Gunn. And that's what we're going to look at here to see if that's actually true. So here's what happened. Previously, there was no governing body for the sport of breakdancing in Australia. Rachael Gunn knew the Olympics were coming up, and she took the initiative to set up a governing body for the sport of breakdancing in Australia, an organization that follows the rules of the Olympics. Now, the accusation is that she set up this governing structure for Australian breakdancing with her husband, and she organized the qualifying events and rigged the system to ensure that she would be selected to go to the Olympics. Some are saying she picked the judges for the national qualifier for the Olympics, and that she held these qualifiers in quasi-secret so that the better breakers wouldn't find out about it. And then Rachael Gunn would sail to victory and qualify for the Olympics. That's the charge. That's the claim. So let's find out if that's true. And the way we find out if this is true is by actually watching the qualifier. Let's look at the final battle between Rachael Gunn, or Ray Gunn, and Holy Molly in the finals of the qualifying tournament that decided which of these two would go to the Olympics. Molly is said to be a better breaker than Rachael, and many are saying that Molly's Olympic dream was stolen by Rachael. But before we watch this battle, here's a little more background on Rachael Gunn. Rachael has a background in ballet, tap, and jazz dance. She is a professional dancer, and she started breaking in 2018 at the age of 30. She married her breakdancing coach in 2018, a fellow by the name of Sammy Free. And here's her husband breaking here. And honestly, looking at his breaking right here, it is possible that this is Rachael Gunn's problem right here, if he's her coach. Now I see where she got that T-Rex move. Her husband Sammy says he was also hoping to compete in the Olympics, but he suffered an injury. Rachael is also a college professor. She has a PhD in cultural studies. She did her PhD dissertation on the politics of breakdancing. And there's quite a bit of mockery online about that. And she teaches classes on the politics of breakdancing at Macquarie University in Australia. Now, why any students would want to spend time and money to attend college and sit all semester in classes on the politics of breakdancing is something of a mystery to me. And I love breakdancing, but I like the activity of breakdancing. I don't want to sit in classes on the politics of breakdancing. It became clear to me long ago that higher education in America is completely broken. Sounds like it's broken in Australia too. Okay, so Rachael Gunn and her husband Sammy Free set up Australia's national breakdancing governing body. Now only 17 girls showed up for this event, for this national female breakdancing qualifier for the Olympics, because there are just not many female breakdancers in Australia, and anyone could enter, including ranked beginners. Now let's look at the finals of the event, Rachael Gunn versus Molly. Here's Rachael in the purple jacket. As you can see, Rachael can dance okay. Remember that before she started breaking in 2018 at the age of 30, she had a solid background in ballet, jazz, and tap dance. So she has dance skills. When she's on her feet, she looks good. No weird kangaroo hops here. No T-Rex move like we saw in the Olympics. And when she does get down on the floor, she does have some very basic breakdance steps. She spends a lot of time here mopping the floor with her body. She tries to grab her heel here, she fails at that, and then she ends her routine.
What'd she show you?
When I go to a local street battle here in Chicago, this is the level I see from a good female breaker. Okay, let's look at Molly.
We're going to see, but the one important thing about the judging system,
Molly looks snappier.
To each other. So you're not judging the dancer based on their round, you're comparing their round to the other dancer. So until we see Molly...
She attempts a head spin here, kind of fails at that.
Yeah.
But she is showing a lot more athleticism than Rachael. Molly is much better in my view. No big power, nothing explosive, but snappier, more fluid, more athletic than Rachael. Molly's round looked much more like breaking than Rachael's round. Here's Rachael's second round.
In her round, when it came to the finish, little details like Ray Gunn finished on the floor, Molly finished in a high
Again, pretty
freeze.
decent and fluid when she's on her
Little
feet.
things like that can make a difference.
But again, she spends too much time rolling around the floor. Her footwork on the floor is very rudimentary, almost non-existent. Yeah. Then she ends with this pose, which is a pretty standard way to end a round. Okay, so far no goofy kangaroo hop or T-Rex move, which is really what set off the mockery at the Olympics. Okay, let's see Molly. She's not doing much here either. Molly also spends too much time here mopping the floor with her body. But this is actually a style of breaking. And a top-level breaker named Menno from the Netherlands does spend a lot of time on his back. Let's see how he does it. I'm not really a fan of this style of breaking, lots of time rolling on the floor, but a world-class breaker like Menno makes it look good. Okay, back to Rachael and Molly for round 3 of their battle, which will decide who represents Australia in the Olympics.
Okay, round 3, and again, in a couple of minutes, one of them is going to go bananas. They're going to Paris.
Here's Rachael. Again, looks okay when she's on her feet dancing because that's her background. She has a background in dance. Her go-down is very weak here, almost arthritic. And this is pretty much the exact same routine she did at the Olympics, minus the kangaroo hop and the T-Rex moves. She's very slow. Again, she spends a lot of time mopping the floor with her back and sliding around on her knees. That's not really breaking. It's not that breaking can't have these elements as part of it. You're supposed to be able to dance off all parts of your body in breaking, so that is part of it. But when you're on your back, what you want to do is explode off your back. Let's see how Nagin comes off his back. It just doesn't look good to be squirming around on your back for half your round. Now let's look at Molly's final round. And Molly is nowhere near world class either, but at least there's some action and there's some pop. What Molly is doing here looks like breaking. Okay, so that's it. Let's see what the judges say.
Rachael Gunn, Molly, Rachael Gunn, 2-2.
The judges give it to Rachael Gunn 2 rounds to 1, so very close. Honestly, I don't understand this decision at all. Now, Molly isn't world class, but she is actually breaking. I'm looking at the judges here. Who are they? 9 judges. I actually recognize some of the names. I see Kid Glide and Moy here from the United States. Both are actually friends of mine. I know them pretty well. I can't see how they actually voted here. But it certainly looks like they have real judges from outside the region, so these judges are not just friends of Rachael, as some are claiming on social media, and her husband is not one of the judges, as has been claimed on social media. So it looks like a real panel of independent judges. I absolutely would have given the battle to Molly. I don't know how these judges could have awarded this to Rachael. Molly was much snappier, more athletic, more fluid. Beat Rachael in every phase, I think. What Molly was doing actually looked like breakdancing, but she really didn't do much out there either. Huh. Okay, let's look at some of the other earlier rounds and some of the other breakers. Here's the semifinal between Molly and G-Clef.
G-Clef!
I like G-Clef here. This looks like breaking. Very classic style. She knows what she's doing.
Molly's been
And
around.
here's Molly.
Last year she got out of Australia. She went to New York. She went to Slovakia. She went to IBE. So, she's had experience.
Molly seems to be doing much better here than she did in her battle with Rachel. Okay, let's skip forward to G clef.
Yes.
Here G clef is doing the windmill. It's really the only move that I can see that is even remotely a power move that I've seen done by any of these girls. A windmill is considered an intermediate breaking move. Here's my windmill, for example, at the age of 60 at a Red Bull event. Okay, let's see Molly.
Happens a lot.
Again, Molly doing much better here than in her battle with Rachel. All right, let's see Rachael Gunn in her semi-final battle with Hannah.
The experience of Rachael Gunn is gonna do it for her.
Here you go, Hannah!
Both these breakers look pretty comparable.
I think we can safely say the big girls are in it.
Rachael Gunn takes the first round in my view.
The rounds are getting more packed with content.
I would say this is a very close battle. Rachel is doing much better here than what she did in the Olympics.
Yo! Hannah's still playing on the side.
So Hannah and Rachel pretty comparable. Judges award the battle to Rachael Gunn, but it's very close here. 2 rounds to Rachel, 1 round to Hannah, and one of the rounds won here by Rachel is very close. So Rachael Gunn almost lost here to Hannah. So I do think that we can say definitively that this Olympic qualifier was not rigged. We can debate about who is better between Rachel and Molly. I thought Molly was better. But there were 9 independent judges not from the region, all accomplished breakers, 2 who I know personally. How could these judges award this to Rachel and not Molly? But I do see inexplicable decisions by judges in breaking all the time. I've been awarded wins in battles that I know I did not win. Judges do tend to vote for the people that they know unless it's just obvious that the person they know didn't win. That's just what happens. It's human nature. And often the judges aren't even paying attention to what's happening on the floor, or they're just not good at judging. They might be good breakers, but not good at judging breaking events. And the judges here might have just seen the quality of the breaking here is just so low that it didn't make any difference who won. So might as well just give it to the organizer of the event. Who knows? But I'll also say that Rachel performed much better here than she did in the Olympics. If Rachael had performed in the Olympics exactly like she performed here, she would not have been a worldwide laughingstock. Probably wouldn't have been noticed at all. She just would have lost and that would have been it. But she did that kangaroo hop and that T-Rex move. Also the sprinkler move. And she held her poses too long. But the truth is, none of these girls from Australia are anything close to elite caliber breakers. Molly was the best, followed by G-Clef, in my opinion. Rachael and Hannah were about the same. So the 4 top Australian female breakers are all recreational level breakers, with Molly as the best of them. So I think that what happened in the Olympics with Rachael Gunn is that she knew that she could not remotely compete with these other breakers, many of whom, by the way, were not world-class breakers either, but they were a lot better than Rachael Gunn. So what Rachael Gunn tried to do was something creative and artsy. It just didn't come off at all. Just looked goofy, looked completely whack. Before you do something artsy, before you do something different like a kangaroo hop or a T-Rex move, you need to establish first that you're a skilled breaker. Now, a world-class breaker might conceivably do the kangaroo hop if competing against an Australian breaker, as a way to kind of mock his Australian competitor. This would be called a burn move, and burn moves are part of breaking. Burn moves are insult moves. Here are what some burn moves can look like. Burn moves are insult moves, kind of like flipping the finger at somebody, but they're supposed to be kind of creative and original. So you could use the kangaroo hop as a burn move if you're battling against an Australian breaker, and you're trying to mock the Australian. That would make sense. But to just simply open your round with the kangaroo hop, that doesn't make sense. And the female breaker from Afghanistan, she was no good at all either. She was actually probably worse than Rachael Gunn. I think she got 0 points. But she didn't do any sort of odd moves like the kangaroo hop or the T-Rex move or the sprinkler move. And plus, nobody really wanted to dump on the girl from Afghanistan. But remember, the International Olympic Committee wants geographic diversity. That's how you get the Jamaican bobsled team. That's how you get the swimmer from Equatorial Guinea, who almost drowns in the swimming pool. So this fiasco is not actually Rachael Gunn's fault at all. She did not cheat. She actually did win the qualifier in Australia. We can debate about whether or not Molly should have been given the win, but it's not exactly like Molly was world-class either. She's not exponentially better than Rachael Gunn. The problem was Australia does not have many female breakers, and the few that they have are at the recreational level. So Rachael Gunn is being unjustly accused here. She did not cheat to get into the Olympics. The blowback against her from the breaking world has been just ferocious because all the media is focusing on is her. No one's paying attention to the truly tremendous performances by the world-class breakers, by the winners, by the medalists. And that's a shame. But it's not Rachael Gunn's fault. She played by the rules. She took the initiative and set up a governing body for Australian breaking that followed the rules of the Olympics. She held a legit qualifier with 9 legit judges. Everyone says that Molly is Australia's best breaker, and she was in the qualifier. G-Clef was in the qualifier. Everyone says she's Australia's second best breaker. And Hannah was in the qualifier. So Australia's best female breakers were there, as far as I can tell. And Rachael did perform a lot better in Australia's qualifier for the Olympics than she performed at the Olympics. Rachael tried to be too creative in the Olympics and became a worldwide laughingstock as a result. If she had just kept her Olympic performance simple and basic like she did in the qualifiers in Australia, no one would have noticed. She just would have lost and that would have been it. But she tried to do something different. So the fault here is not Rachael at all. The emphasis on geographical diversity that the International Olympic Committee insists on is the problem here. And I can see why they do want that to some extent. We don't want all the athletes from the United States or, the large countries in the Olympics. We want to see athletes from other countries. And also they want to see the entire world watching the Olympics. And if no one is competing from your country, you're probably not going to watch the Olympics. So it makes sense from that standpoint. But there should at least be a minimum skill level needed to compete. We really don't want to see the best pygmy high jumper from Pygmyland. So perhaps the best pygmy high jumper can clear a 3.5-foot bar. But we don't want to see that in the Olympics for the sake of geographic diversity. The Olympics should be about merit, should be about athletic excellence. The Olympics should not be about handing out participation trophies. We want to see the best. We don't want to see a ski jumper from the Congo falling off the end of the ski jump. Or maybe we do want to see that because that would be funny. And that's essentially what happened here with Rachael Gunn in the Olympics. However, Rachael Gunn is now making a fundamental public relations error, a fundamental marketing error. She's taking herself way too seriously here. and she's acting defensive about her disastrous performance. Here she is running away from reporters.
Presumably hurt by worldwide ridicule, Rachael Gunn is now laying low.
Have you got a message for the people who've been writing stuff online, guys? Do you think people have been unfair about your performance?
Hi everyone, Rachael Gunn here. I just want to start by thanking all the people who have supported me. I really appreciate the positivity, and I'm glad I was able to bring some joy into your lives. That's what I hoped. I didn't realize that that would also open the door to so much hate, which has frankly been pretty devastating. Well, I went out there and I had fun. I did take it very seriously. I worked my butt off preparing for the Olympics, and I gave my all, truly. I'm honoured to have been a part of the Australian Olympic team and to be part of breaking's Olympic debut. What the other athletes have achieved has just been phenomenal. In regards to the allegations and misinformation floating around, I'd like to ask everyone to please refer to the recent statement made by the AOC, as well as the posts on the Ozbreaking Instagram page, as well as the WDSF Breaking for Gold page. Bit of a fun fact for you. There are actually no points in breaking. If you want to see how the judges thought I compared to my opponents, you can actually see the comparison percentages across the 5 criteria on Olympics.com. All the results are there. I'm going to be in Europe for a few weeks for some pre-planned downtime, but I'd really like to ask the press to please stop harassing my family, my friends, the Australian breaking community, and the broader street dance community. Everyone has been through a lot as a result of this, so I ask you to please respect their privacy. I'll be happy to answer more questions on my return to Australia. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, wait. Olympics, break dance, female results. That's interesting because when you Google it, it says she still received 0 points. So there just must be a whole bunch of articles misinforming everyone about this, if that's actually true. Let's see, Olympics results. Breaking. I don't get what she's talking about here. Okay, so you have Group B Battle 4. You have Logistics versus Rachael Gunn. Logistics, I guess, just from the US. And here, Logistics received 18 votes and Rachael Gunn received 0 votes. So I'm trying to find what she's talking about. So it is correct that she didn't receive a single point because she didn't receive a single vote. So yeah, here you clearly see where she received like no votes and thus 0 points. So sure, maybe they're not called points, but there's definitely 0 here. So if they're called votes or whatever they're called, it's 0, 18, 0, 18, 0, 18 to all 3 of the times she competed. So definitely a confusing statement here.
And here's what she told ESPN after her performance at the Olympics. Here's what she said, quote, "I was never going to beat these girls on what they do best. Their power moves. What I bring is creativity." And she also had this quote, "All my moves are original. Creativity is really important to me. I go out there and I show my artistry." End quote. No, there was no artistry here. No artistry in Rachael Gunn's performance whatsoever. Now, it's not her fault she flopped on the Olympic stage. The fault is with the International Olympic Committee's insistence on geographical diversity over athletic excellence. But here's something else that makes Rachael the perfect foil for mockery. Turns out she's also a big wokester, as you might expect given her PhD dissertation in the politics of breakdancing, and that she teaches classes at the university there on the politics of breakdancing. Instead of rolling with the joke that her performance was, she is saying that she does not fit into the hierarchy of merit, which she considers to be a product of colonialism and the white male patriarchy. Rachael seems to have no sense of humor whatsoever. What Rachael Gunn needs to do as quickly as possible is read my new book, Win Life: Success Skills Schools Don't Teach. And this is a book primarily aimed at young people, but Rachael can benefit from this book too. And a big topic covered in this book is how to fail your way to success and how to reframe your failures into actually being successes. Instead of bellyaching and complaining about misogyny and how she doesn't believe in merit and how she thinks that this system of merit is a product of colonialism and the white male patriarchy, and instead of complaining about how the judges in the world just did not understand her artistry and her creativity, she should just be owning the joke. Instead of running away from reporters and looking all defensive and kind of acting ticked off, she should be going on every TV show she can. And she should be saying, look, I never expected to get into the Olympics, but if they tell me I'm qualified for the Olympics, I'm definitely going. Then just explain that breakdancing is not a big thing in Australia. She started breaking at age 30, fell in love with it, and her goal is to get more people in Australia involved in breaking, and that it was just a big accident that she qualified for the Olympics because there are just not that many female breakdancers in Australia. And everyone would understand this. That's how you turn failure into success. And something actually a little bit similar happened to me in breaking, though on a much smaller scale. As I said, I started breaking it at the age of 54, fell into it completely by accident. I attended a world-class breaking competition as a spectator. I met one of the top breakers there, and I asked him if he'd be willing to be my fitness trainer and teach me some breakdancing. So that's how I got into breaking. And I quickly lost 30 pounds, and I fell in love with it. And here was my first battle. I think it was in 2012, early 2012. Really ridiculous. Now, one of my superpowers is I am absolutely immune to embarrassment. I cannot be embarrassed. And this superpower, this immunity I have to being embarrassed, means I'm willing to try anything. And I don't mind failing in public. I don't fear failure or fear looking silly. And I talk about the importance of developing this superpower in my book, Win Life. Never fear embarrassment. Just roll with a joke. Trying and failing and doing it in public, failing in public, is how you get better at things. That's how you fail your way to success. So I kept doing this, kept practicing, entered competitions. And I'll just quickly show my progress through the years, because it's kind of funny. And then at the age of 60, I got noticed when I entered a professional breakdance competition in Philadelphia. And here that was. And the Wall Street Journal wrote an article on me for its health and fitness section. because of this event. Then ABC's Good Morning America had me on.
We'll be talking about this video you just have to see. Take a look at this 60-year-old breakdancer. Yes, 60 years old. A man, our producer, they say that, what's that? Ben? Or Benihana, as he's known in the breakdancing world. He's here this morning in our audience. Ben, oh, there he is. Ben. Oh, man, that was awesome. Oh, there you go. I mean, they want to shake your hand.
I want a hug. That was fantastic.
Man, I gotta say.
And then, because of my Good Morning America appearance, I got invited to try out for America's Got Talent. And I went through a many-month tryout process. And I actually made it to the audition in Los Angeles in front of Simon Cowell and the celebrity judges.
Stretch it out. Yeah.
And there were like 3,000 or 4,000 people in the audience. And 3 out of the 4 judges even voted to advance me to the TV round. And Howie Mandel was my biggest supporter. He was standing and cheering the whole time. And the crowd was going wild. And I did get some mocking from Simon Cowell. The one judge who voted against me was Julianne Hough. And that's because she's a professional dancer. She was a judge on one of those dance shows, either Dancing with the Stars or So You Think You Can Dance. So she voted no on me, and she could see that beyond my windmill and head spin and a couple of breaking moves, that I really didn't have any dance skills. So she voted no, but 3 out of 4 judges voted to advance me, so I advanced to the next round, the TV round. But I didn't actually make it on TV. So it turns out that just because you advance doesn't mean you actually get on TV. They might vote to advance, like, say, 150 contestants to be on TV, and then pick only 40 to actually be on TV. And the rest of us just end up on the cutting room floor. That's where I ended up. And I'm not surprised. I had no business whatsoever being on America's Got Talent for my breakdancing. But what did kind of tick me off quite a bit is they would not allow Wanda, my wife Wanda, to video my performance. And nor would they let me have their video of it. That annoyed me quite a bit because my only purpose for doing this was to get the video. That would have been really cool. But while I was getting all this publicity, appearing on ABC's Good Morning America, actually appeared on ABC Good Morning America twice. The second time because they said I was one of their favorite guests of the year. Because I was getting this publicity, I did get some blowback on social media from a few in the breaking community. And some of the breakers didn't like that I was getting all this media attention as the world's oldest actively competing breakdancer. Plus, they all knew that I was a Republican and a supporter of Donald Trump. So some in the breaking community didn't like that I was getting all this media attention, me being a very unskilled breakdancer. And plus, some didn't like my political views. And probably the comment on social media that hurt my feelings the most was when one of the breakers, a guy that I actually respect quite a bit, he wrote this. He says, it's kind of a funny comment, but he said this: "It's hard to believe that one of the more influential voices in Chicago hip-hop is an actual racist." So that comment did hurt quite a bit, especially since it came from a breaker that I actually have quite a bit of respect for. First, I'm not any kind of influential voice in the world of Chicago hip-hop. Second, I'm certainly not any kind of racist. So yeah, that stung quite a bit. But of course, I didn't let anybody know that it stung. I just basically ignored it. Plus, a lot of people did come to my defense. And I think I'm pretty well liked in the world of breakdancing because my approach when it comes to breaking is not to take myself at all seriously. I'm not under any illusion that I'm any kind of accomplished breakdancer. I just like practicing breakdance, and I like the events, I like the energy of the events, and I like to participate in the events. I'm a recreational breaker who took up this activity late in life. And I'm just a big fan of the truly great breakers. And I also knew that I had absolutely no business being on America's Got Talent when compared to all the other real talent on there. In fact, here's kind of my basic interview approach when it comes to breaking. Right after I got done with my round at the U.S. National Championship, which was also, by the way, a qualifier for the Paris Olympics, I did this interview with the Hip Hop Dance Channel.
I'm Ben Hart, age 65, and I'm probably the world's oldest actively competing breaker. Yeah. I didn't start breaking until I was 54. Steve Graham, who's everybody's probably familiar with, he invited me to one of his events just to take a look.
B-Boy Silverback.
Yes. I was incredibly impressed with what I saw in terms of just the athleticism. This was a kind of world-class level breaking event in Philly. And I was living in Chicago at that time, and one of the top breakers there was a B-boy by the name of Shorty Brick.
Okay.
And he was also from Chicago, so I got talking to him, and I asked him if he'd be interested in being my fitness trainer. And he said, sure. And that's kind of how I started. And then after about 2 or 3 years of doing that, I actually entered my first B-boy competition, and Shorty was my partner. He was my teammate. So we went out there, and then I got hooked on it after that.
Awesome. What is it like being a part of Breaking for Gold National Champions USA and to have breaking in the Olympics? Because again, you're 65, you've seen some Olympics.
Yeah.
What is it like?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I think people are going to be very impressed with the athleticism, the fact that they have to do it to the music. You know, it's a little different from gymnastics where they just go out and they do tricks. And plus, in gymnastics, they're on a kind of a springy board. With breaking, they're on a hard floor, and they have to do all these incredible athletic moves, flips, windmills, flares to the music. So I think people are going to be blown away by that, especially if the announcers, the people describing what's happening on the floor, explain what's actually going on. It's not just an athletic contest. It is an athletic contest, but it's a dance event also. What's important is the art, but it's art plus the athleticism.
And what would you say? Usually I ask kids, what would you say to inspire kids, or even kids in their 20s, but as someone who's up there a little bit, what would you say in terms of inspiring younger generations, even older generations?
Well, I think breaking is one of the things that really attracts me to it is it's all-round exercise. It's strength, it's stamina, it's all parts of the body. And the breaking culture is just so much fun. It's just a lot of energy, and it's a great way to, frankly, keep kids out of trouble if you're a parent. So, because most people who really get seriously involved in breaking are very passionate about it, you know, and so they don't want to drink or do anything, put stuff in their body that's going to in any way hurt their performance. Because as you can see from these events, the level of athleticism is just very high level, and so you have to be really concerned about what you put in your body, training, and that kind of thing. So if you're a parent, breaking is actually a really good thing to get your kids in.
And that's my approach. I'm there to support breaking, and my goal is to get more people involved in breaking. I never present myself as having any kind of chance against accomplished breakdancers. And I don't complain that the judges are not appreciating my artistry or creativity or originality. My goal is just to promote breaking and to get as many people as possible involved in breaking, and to publicize how great these world-class breakers are. But if by some fluke, through some clerical error, they tell me that I'm qualified for the Olympics, well, I'm definitely going. I'm competing. And that's what Rachael should be telling people. She should not be presenting herself as having any kind of real chance against these world-class breakers. She got into the Olympics because of a flaw in a very poorly designed qualifying process, much like the Jamaican bobsledders, or that swimmer from Equatorial Guinea. What she should be talking about is that it's never too late to start breakdancing, how everyone should be breakdancing, and why exercise is so important, and how her goal is to get more Australians breakdancing, and how she never expected to get into the Olympics. And if she did that, and if she did this with good humor, people would love her. She'd be getting commercial endorsements. She could be making millions of dollars from sponsors. But she's not doing this. Instead of rolling with the joke and laughing at herself in this entire situation, she's complaining that the judges do not appreciate her artistry, her originality, her creativity. The head of Australia's Olympics is blaming Rachael's disastrous performance on sexism and misogyny. And Rachael is saying she doesn't believe in merit because she says merit is a product of the colonizers and the white male patriarchy. So she's taking herself way too seriously. She apparently has no sense of humor whatsoever. She's a parody of woke and all that's wrong with academia and higher education today. Knowing how to laugh at yourself is an important skill for success in life. Again, Rachael really needs to read my book, Win Life, pronto, which has an entire section on how to flip and reframe failure into stunning success. Her success is she found a way to get into the Olympics. How many people can say they got into the Olympics? And as a result of her stunningly bad performance, she is the most famous breakdancer in the world. She is the most famous breakdancer who has ever lived. That's an accomplishment.